Those guys can go crazy with the mechanics, and Torsos, he was holding it down in the midfield with the challenge game as well against G2. I think Torsos is similar to the anchor role that Bems has and plays for with the club.
I think that's a good comparison to draw. And if you're looking at the two mechanical stars, it's got to be Lost against Amphis.
Yeah.
But it's a two-headed monster between Amphis and Fever, and you definitely have to include Astromic in that conversation. So you got two three-headed monsters. We'll see how things develop as Torsos carries the ball out, punches it by Astromic.
There's classic Bems on the backboard, doing what he does best and finding transitions. Boost is going to be a valuable, valuable resource as each team likes to play as fast as possible. Slowing it down is not usually a part of their game plan, but maybe they change things up. And of course, the physical game that Power were so heavily reliant on against G2.
I like the soft touch from Astromic, but then Power, they don't give up on the play. And this was something that was working to great success for them for G2, but a little bit of a mess. Everyone thinking someone else was going for the ball. No one ends up touching it, but you like the aggression early from Power.
And that can happen too whenever two teams are trying to play as fast as these guys are. One whiff, and then you start assuming everybody else is going to get the follow-up. And speaking of follow-up, Lost had that save after the follow-up from Power was on target. But they did keep it out. We remain scoreless. Good pressure from Power.
Power have had most of the possession so far. Really just working across. Bems patient coming out of the net. And Club, they don't really feel like they don't look like they're under too much pressure, despite Power running around a lot here in the corner. Fever trying to find a way out, and Power don't want to give up a needless touch. Fever hanging on to that for as long as possible. And Amphis even just trying to keep it lateral, but Club aren't giving them any open.
Yeah, I do really like what I'm seeing out of Power, however. These touches aren't just blatantly into the corner or off the backboard, given away to the club. They're trying to keep possession, which is the key here. At least with creating mistakes and forcing the defense in an uncomfortable spot. And this was an uncomfortable situation for Power. They do fend off the attack and hold it down. Lost forced to get some full boost to his name. And Torsos looking for that double. He connected on it, but nobody was there for an early reception.
Oh, that's going to be a free ball for Torsos. They put it over to the far side, away from the entire club rotation. This allows Power and Amphis to move forward, but he misses contact on his reset. And that was a big chance for Amphis. I think even if he does get the power on that, or if he gets the contact on that shot, it's probably blocked. But Club just don't have any possession right now.
There has been a lot of space in the midfield too for Power. I saw Torsos just go up in the air, and now he comes to Amphis. That was a really good look at the net. Fever again, the speed outpacing them, and the double tap was not on target, but passed just ever so slightly off. Power looked to be the stronger team in terms of possession.
Haven't gotten a lot in terms of shots on net. Only 4 for as much time as they've spent here. And I think you got to give credit to Club's defense. Their structure has really prevented Power from moving in. They get to the corner, they maybe start to build pressure in front of the box, but they're constantly moving laterally. Now Lost finally breaks out for the Club. He might have a chance here. 1-on-2 for Torsos, but the second man for Power comes back, Fever. Lost trying to keep possession. He actually has a chance to get to the 50. Oh, Bems misses contact, and Club, they don't do much with the little bit of possession that they had. A very defensive start for both teams.
Yeah, especially for Club. I am surprised to see this. We saw a good sequence of vulnerable moments from Power just recently where the Club were able to transition, but they didn't bear any fruit from it. Now Astromic looking for a pass in the midfield. Lost decides to rotate out just a little bit, get a better challenge because of it. Slower gameplay, this ball getting dragged down to the floor. And finally, it does get popped up, but it's given immediately back to the Club, and Power are stuck.
Teams trying to outsmart each other in the challenge game, trying for the quick soft touch into a 50, but you're not seeing either team get physical, and that surprises me. I definitely expected both teams to go to the physical game a little earlier. They do get a demo on the backside, but overall a slow start in game 1, but not a sloppy start. It's been a thoughtful approach by both teams, figuring out how to move by especially Power, this club defense, which they're really struggling to get out of the corner. And we are slowly moving our way towards overtime, but maybe Lost generates a chance for the club that will roll across. Bems wants to play ball. Bounces just underneath him. We got 0-0 overtime to start the day.
Yeah, maybe we're not seeing too many demos from Power, too. If you watch that last series where they 3-0 G2, they would only get demos when they didn't have the speed to match G2 in the air, and they would just get a follow-up after whoever touched the ball from G2. It was an immediate demo. They wouldn't overextend too much with their own rotation. So the fact that they're outpacing the club means they don't even need to go for those demos because they're winning the first touch. We are about 30 seconds near to this OT, and it's been a back-and-forth game.
That being said, club have been patient. Haven't felt really rushed on defense, and now Fever's feeling rushed, but he gets the block. And Torsas actually shuffles that ball out. Or on the corner, here comes Torsas, getting Meki. Torsas denied by Astramic.
Meki and Messi on the field, taking boost, looking to throw off some of these club rotations. Astramic has a flip reset, but uses it to get the wave dash to have a speedier rotation back. Defensive playstyle and approach from the club.
I didn't mind that from Astramic because it's a low percentage 50. Now he's in a tough spot. He's missed the ball. Another demo leaves it free for Torsas, but he pops it up too high. That gives Astramic the clear.
It feels like we're seeing a new side from the club where they're much more passive, Jorby, and they're patient. And while it hasn't gotten them too many chances, their defense certainly looks to be on another level.
They don't have a lot of boost right now, though. They're working on small pad game. Astramic, the only one with enough, and he got the save, but Lost recovers. Nobody's coming across for Power, and Lost breaks out. It looked like it could have been a chance, but Power got caught in the middle of their rotation.
I do believe that was Amphis sitting as that third man because Fever was the one who was going for a demo. Amphis sitting a little bit too far back. Golden opportunity flies by, but maybe that's the passive approach they want to take in this OT.
Things have heated up just a little bit. You're starting to see harder touches where both teams was really only control touches. Not a lot of boomers, not a lot of forcing the other team to challenge the backboard, but now they've just challenged Lost. He has to flip off the play. Astramic has missed it, but Amphis can't put the ball on target. That was a big chance for Power. They're gonna get another one. No, Bems puts it back over to the side. Torsas not gonna find it. Lost with a big clear for the club.
The illusion comes out from the club. It looked like they were gonna get the clear. Amphis most likely assumed a touch at least would have come out. That's why he was inaccurate on the shot. I'd say the mechanics have not been spectacular in this game. In the first game, it's been very weak with the touches. Nobody's super on point with the flip resets. Everybody
they haven't really focused on it either.
Yeah, it's cautious, I'd say, from both.
Catch from Bems. I mean, Lost was rotating back. No one can follow up for that. Power tried to get the ball back, but they just gave it right off to Lost. He misses the touch, but Fever missed it, and it's a forced own goal. Astramic put some lead behind it, and Power got peppered.
And the club, they're even laughing at what's going on. Lost, he went up for the double tap, didn't connect with it, and Astramic puts it into the bottom right corner. The rotation for Power is seconds off, milliseconds off at that. And unfortunately smacks into his own goal.
At the end, Astramic just kind of shakes his head and is giggling. He's like, yep, that one goes in short.
That was, I'm not gonna lie, I think this game went the exact opposite of how I expected. You know, we had the history, we've seen what these two teams have done in the Swiss stage so far. Very aggressive, very offensively minded. And we come out here, there's not as many demos and not as many solo plays. Cautious approach, passive from both sides. And then the one goal we get is this missed double tap opportunity where you smack it and then it's an own goal.
Sometimes that's just how overtime ends. And, you know, I feel like it also depends how the scrims go between these two teams.
Yeah.
Because the club and the Power, they're scrimming each other, and they're trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work. Okay, do the demos work against this team? Like, are we better when we're more aggressive against them? How are they when they're more aggressive? How do we respond? Because every matchup is different, right? So while club versus Moist and Power versus G2, like both teams might have looked speedier. Now all of a sudden we put two speedy teams together and nobody wants to try to outspeed the other. So you get this really slow, methodical approach, but then that leads to, it's funny because when you play that way and everyone's playing that way, I feel like that lends to more mistakes because every touch becomes much more delicate. Right? Every mistake becomes more punishable.
It's weird though because this feels like, to me, the team that decides to take a little bit more risk and maybe be more mechanical. It's like they're off right now. I'm not seeing too many good touches. Even that goal previously wasn't the best. And now we've got Fever warming up. These are the mechanics I expected to see. An air dribble to himself around Bems, and then it was too much of an awkward touch from Lost.
Yeah, that was nice job from Fever, getting on the right side of the ball, pushing it across. And a full field clear. Bems just didn't have the read on it. We went about 6 minutes a game without a goal last time. Now we get one in the opening seconds. That seems to happen after long OTs.
The gates have been unlocked.
Whoa, Torsas just kicked that ball. That was almost in. That would have been insane.
If only. If only.
Yeah, that would have been the clip. Look at Lost jumping for it. But Torsas got the demo on Bems on the backside. Astromik had to come back as third man to pick up this ball. That made his 50 game a little tough to execute.
Yep.
Now Lost avoids the demo. He's got a little bit of space, goes quick off the ceiling underneath, but didn't have much more. And Astromik trying to keep the ball in play. Another shot, but Torsas is there on the save.
Perfect timing on the rotations from Power as they're going into the net, reaching that far post. They're crossing past with the ball and with the shot just when they need to, and that's allowing them to get a lot of power here as they transition out. Fever has been doing a bunch of work, not only with that first goal, but getting crucial saves as well. More defense from Power, but feels less panicky and definitely more polished.
Memphis, a circumstantial demo. A lot of challenges that go neutral. Bems has just been frozen on the back wall, waiting for the touch to come towards him. Now he gets bumped off the play. He finally gets the ball. Bems on the carry. Its first touch a little too powerful. Can't get the bump onto Amphis, but Lost crashed the box. Astromik next up. Light touch off the bar. Bems has to wait, but too committed from Power. It's too late of a shot. Bems didn't have any boost, so he couldn't get any power.
We got some ideal bounces, too, off the backboard. Nothing hitting that awkward spot where it's flying right up above the net. From the corners, the club are trying to infiltrate and push something out in front of the net. Haven't been successful, but these opportunities are coming more and more, and the club looked to be in favor of possession. That was a solid opportunity, but still saved away from Power.
You'd like to see Lost slow down on that play, let Astromik develop in front before he ends up diving for that. I think he just wanted to force, maybe almost pull shot Astromik, who wins 250s and Lost backflips off the play as soon as he sees Fever. Bems, light shot. Club are getting shot opportunities, but they either don't get power because they don't have boost. That time Bems couldn't get solid power on the play. Amphis! Oh, he froze on his flip and tried to time it correctly, but Power held on to this lead.
I'm really impressed with Fever. Every time I see this man in rotation, pushing forward, he's taking a midfield boost, he's trying to get a demo. He's the one who got the goal earlier. He's also finding himself in third man and being very decisive on when he should push up. Fever has been the anchor when normally I'd expect it to be Torsas, but Fever, huge impact, and see if he can continue that trend as he does actually miss this touch. Well, he'll be forced to rotate back. Midfield boost, nobody finding anything there, and you can see Fever as well getting bumps, looking at that third man, trying to throw them off their line.
And Club, they're starting to feel desperate for a goal. You're seeing third man inch up a little too far.
Good demo.
And before the play develops totally, Astromik gonna avoid Lost, who Lost really just trying to screen Power off the play. But this is just benefiting Power. Club cannot get out. They get the clears, but they can't get the follow-ups. Bems already downfield. Where can he go with this ball? Power got everything covered. Astromik gets demoed on the play, and it's another dead ball.
Doing everything they can on the rotations back. Now it's not Fever, it's all Amphis taking out one of the players from the club, pushing forward, and that has deflated so much of the offense. And look at all the boost in favor of Power. They're going up, and nobody's wanting to challenge them because Club can't even get any boost.
Ooh, Fever reset on the ceiling, but can't make contact. Lost his touch, taken by Torsas. Tried to boost up to the ball, and now it starts to get a little sloppy here for Power, but they'll take the sloppiness if it wastes more time on the clock. Lost every time trying to carry that ball out, but he got demoed this time. And his 50 game not nearly as successful this time. Maybe the carry. Fever got the 50 and Lost. There he goes, wins 2 50s across one. Fever jumps early, but there is Amphis on the rotation. Astromik's got to get that in the corner. Bems pulls on the rotation. Astromik a bump, but Torsas, great recovery and grab on the backboard. Astromik able to delete one. Lost quick across the corner. This is a good read for the club at the end of regulation, but Fever, a big clear off the stealing. Bems with the catch. Quickly there's Torsos. Power, release the pressure gauge. Just may take the game, but they gotta get the ball on the ground. Torsos feeds it, and Power dominated the possession game on Aquadome and win 1-0.
Defense made of steel. Power not moving around. Defensive rotations not faulting either. There were barely any lapses in rotation, and because of it, the club held scoreless when they're so typically offensively minded, can get some good plays in. And something I'm oftentimes seeing is out of Power, there's two players sitting in the backfield, and there's been several moments where the club have maybe a 1v2 dribble. They're going for a flick over one player, and Power, very smart, know exactly to send one player forward, bait out that flick, and then make it easier for the third man just to carry it out to his own corner.
That being said, the club, they started to draw up some good opportunities near the end. They were getting some quality demos that gave them a little bit of space, but then Torsos with an incredible save and recovery on the backboard that pretty much completely killed the club's approach, and that, he seems to be the guy that keeps killing the club's chances on defense. And you talked about him being the anchor for Power. He's literally executing as the anchor right now.
As the anchor, and then up top you've got Fever, who's taking the boost, getting demos rotating back and getting in the faces, which makes it easier for the anchor that is Torsos to find those saves, to get in position and get up for any challenge that will come his way. But game 3 now, the club, it's their turn to respond and try and make some changes. Game 1 was a slower approach, very cautious. And they edged out the win off of a missed double tap that faked out Power. But game 2, Power really started to step things up. Much better speed, taking boost, getting aggressive, and overall taking control of all that space.
And club got to start just booming this ball.
I agree.
The possession hasn't worked. Every time Lost is behind it,
A
Power demo opens the gate. Amphis gets the goal, but Fever plows the net.
I'm telling you, it's always Fever who's getting in their faces and being annoying. Fever deletes them off the pitch. Goodbye, and hello to the first goal.
Power now the owner of the last 2 goals in the last about 6 minutes of play. Fever getting underneath. He got a pass out. Oh my goodness. Fever just kind of falls onto the ball, muscles through 2 defenders, and Power get a 2-goal lead.
He didn't even get a flick. He pumped it up a little bit and then decided to go on a rampage. Let's get in front of 2 players, block their point of view, and make sure they have nothing in the tank to get a touch.
Power believe in themselves. When we were watching their replays against G2, like in game 2, I remember we were saying to each other, it's like, they have so much confidence.
Yeah.
They're just going for it.
There's no boost either for the club. I'm looking at their positioning. They're all in the same spot, rotating back, looking to pick up their own corner. Now Astromik and Lost are right on each other's toes, but it works out. They can do some quick 1-2 passes between each other.
Little dink, little dunk. Gets it right underneath Torsos, and you see Fever in the corner. Just tries to get that read against Lost. Lost, the only way you're beating him on that read is a powerful touch. He got it right underneath him to Astromik, who also had to make a crucial touch for the shot. Everything had to go right there for Lost and Astromik, and it did.
The switch has been flipped, and it looks like all of the speed we talked about from these 2 teams has been activated. They're flying much faster. Big fake from Torsos, though, around 2 players. Look at the dribble out. That's wasted so much time past another one. A lot of work, but immediately turned around from Lost.
Lost tried to force a bad 50 out of Torsos. And your eyes have been on Fever. My eyes have been on Torsos. Yes. How about the longtime veteran stepping up with the 2?
Since season 3.
It's crazy. Fever underneath. He had a demo to give some space. Reset, not strong enough, but Astromik let the ball go, and he got back to it. Amphis got the catch. He's got a little bit more in the tag, kept it close, and that was good enough for control for Amphis, and he fed the ball right back to Fever.
This feels like Power are really baiting in the club with bringing the ball down and then randomly mixing it up with big booming clears. You've got demos coming out from Torsos. He just crashed the net. It's creating more space for the midfield. Amphis, he doesn't have any boost, but he's still challenging, which is key, crucial to maintaining possession.
Astromik was thinking Bems was closer in the rotation, but he was still rotating back in on his net line. So Astromik leaves the ball, and that could have been deadly for the club if Power were privy to what was happening. But Astromik lost, saves the day, and helps Bems out a little bit. Astromik gonna steal the boost, got the ball, lost!
That's in!
The closed angle! They scored twice from that spot, and the club have tied it up.
The battling back, it's been efficient from the corners. Astromik, he's gonna take the boost, then go on a rampage himself. He saw what Fever was doing, decides to give them a taste of their own medicine.
Love what Astromik did on that play. Amphis is reading the touch. Astromik knows it, so he just leaves the ball, goes for the boost. That gave the opening for Lost, and he made the most of it. That's twice now that they've manipulated that side of the field in that way. But a quick shot denied. Bems gets in front of it. And he got picked on a couple of times earlier, but Astromik gets a big clear.
You see now Lost, as we're on his camera, is waiting for the boost that has been taken non-stop by Power. And the club likes to play close to each other. You think about that first goal, they were right in each other's face, to be honest with you, and trying to remain within, what, a couple of feet?
Yeah.
And it's going to be difficult to do that if you don't have the boost, but I think throwing yourself forward and trying to support your teammates is a big opportunity. Is whiffed from Lost. I do think keeping close to each other, even without boost, that's the key for the club.
Power starting to lose control of this game. Club, they did go to some harder touches. Lost goes for the demo. But Power still hanging on in the corner. Torsas, the 50 gets away from him thanks to Astromik. Lost goes for control. Fever and Amphis waiting for him across the corner. Bems, that's a tight ball. Torsas forces him off the approach. But the 50, the follow-up from the club is good enough.
Yeah.
Power go for a hard clear, and it's denied by Bems.
How about the response from the club? I'm very impressed. They've been able to get back into this game that I thought was going to slip away from them with the start we got from Power, and especially Fever getting involved in both goals. We've got so many shots, now 11 for Power and only 3 for the club.
Efficiency mattering for the club. Bems rotating out on the play. They still have a little bit of boost in the tank. Club are just kind of roaming around the midfield line. Power not having the same control we saw earlier. And Lost now diving forward. Club just
double come in,
kicked it into the aggressive gear, but they had to pull it off. Bems needs the read. He actually pulls off for Lost. And the club has had a lot of call-offs. The comms are definitely hot for the club. There's been a lot of weaving in terms of who's going to go for it or feigning who's going to go for it.
Yeah.
I think it's worked to success to keep Power guessing.
And the speed has been increased from the club, which is forcing Power to panic. Moments where we're used to them dropping the ball and keeping it to themselves, which they did in the previous game that helped them win. They've been banging it off the backboard, which hasn't been as successful. That's why you see them with so many shots and not as many goals. Almost a solo play from Fever. This man can't get enough, but immediately denied by Bems, and this should hit the ground. It does. Overtime in game number 3.
The second of the series, and it has been a tight one. And maybe not high-flying mechanical action, but it has certainly been a thoughtful game.
Yeah.
Bems gets the 50 in front for Lost, but he gets bumped off the play. Astromik diving forward, gets another 50. Lost hasn't left the play. Waits for Fever, and Amphis wants the big clear. He gets it.
Sun's shining here on DFH Stadium. 30 seconds into this OT. And it has been back and forth, big clears. I'd say the club have had so much momentum, though, heading into this OT. It's up to Power to change that.
Power have to start being aware when Astromik is next up on the ball. More time, like about 60% of, or even more than 60% of the time, he's just leaving it for Lost or Bems.
Yeah.
If I'm first man on Power, I'm diving if I see Astromik behind the ball, because I'm thinking he's not going to touch it again, because he's just trying to create space, keep Power frozen. The best way to respond to that, you know, for a second, turn your brain off. And look at that, Amphis chasing Lost down, but Astromik bails him out.
How effective has that been, too, from Power, with one player extending forward, getting a demo, getting a bump in off the backboard. It's been chaotic in the net, in the box of Power, but haven't gotten much. They do hold on. And that was a very sticky situation. Still, there's somebody lurking, hunting, and maybe that's why the defense has been spread thin, because they've got one player being so offensive and looking for that demo that might get their 3rd goal.
Amphis underneath.
Over one,
and now over top. Double. Denied by Astromik. Lost on the turnaround for the club. Counterattack incoming. Got the 50. Bems comes across the backside. And this is an interesting rotation. Club can't really find a way to threaten the middle of the field as they're forced back over to the side wall. Both of the club's goals have come from that left corner.
Yeah.
They haven't really had a lot of success in the middle of the field.
Things haven't started in the midfield at all from the club. It's usually just only been right here in this left side, in this corner. Think back to the first game that ended the OT. It was the failed double tap, which was, I believe, on the left side as well. But for Power, Demo Game and Fever, that have been the dynamic duo.
Lost underneath the touch. Astromic playing the bully, but excellent avoidance from Fever. Amphis staying on top of the ball. Little wave landing, but Bems pushes it hard. Forces Fever to get the clear, but Fever, he has rarely missed one in the series. And Torsas not going to get back to the ball. Lost over top of him. Amphis kicks it close. Power, a little bit of gumption, but no shot comes. One committed from Bems. Astromic's got space. Here come the club. Bems playing Headhunter. Astromic going to the side wall. Here's the left side. He's been successful twice, but he has to play it to the opposite side.
Nobody's there, and it's because the boost was getting stolen. Their own corners, when they were stuck on defense just previously, got robbed by Amphis, who is draining all of your boost, all of your energy. And that deflates your offense, and now the creativity coming out from Power to take game 3 in the OT.
Oh, Lost. He's trying to read this against Amphis, and it pops on the top of his hood. He wants to catch that ball underneath. Instead, it pops over him, and while it did force over one Power attacker, all the Power went in on that play. Amphis getting the MVP, and Power are one game away from a 2-1 record in Swiss. First they took down G2. Now they're taking down the South America darlings in the club.
This is ridiculous stuff. Even after game 1, I wasn't sure what we were seeing out of Power. They just needed to get warmed up, it looks like. Game 2 came out with the first goal. Game 3 now, demos, physical play, and sending the full house to take the OT win. That has been the secret as we do take a look at Power and how they're feeling. Meanwhile, on the other side of the clubs, the nerves have got to start setting in now as you're facing match point.
Bems had 6 saves.
6 saves.
And, I mean, there was 10 total saves on the side of the club. They played a lot of defense. You know
16
who had
shots
0?
for Power.
Power had 0 saves.
And 16
There
shots.
were only 3 shots for the club.
16 shots.
You literally said,
this is ridiculous.
You literally said 3 shots for the club halfway through the game.
That has not moved.
They didn't get any.
It's because they're just throwing it in the corner.
Like I said, they need to open up the field. They have no way to open up the field. The demo game is non-existent. They don't have the control. They're getting out-challenged. They're getting outplayed. They're getting outboxed. Power are the better team right now.
The only thing that's worked for this team has been that left corner. Nothing else, the midfield. They kept it close in that corner a couple of times. That yielded some form of success. But what else have we gotten? Nothing, because they don't have the boost to challenge in the midfield. They don't have the resources. They're getting demo, boxed out. It's so similar to G2 and the way they looked, unable to handle Power, maybe not expecting it.
The club now in a position where they could be 1-2 heading into tomorrow, or heading into today, rather. And Torsas flips around. Astromic trying to recover on the play.
Speed. It's not even comparable. Like, Lost shouldn't even have gone up for that with how much he got dusted, which is surprising. This is the club, one of the fastest teams I'd say here.
Ooh, Torsas, what a pass in front!
Oh,
that was an absolutely magnificent play from Power. Fever puts it in the back, and Power have the lead.
Torsas, thank you for blessing our eyes right there with that pass in the corner. That was 3 different touches to weave around the club's defense and set it up.
You've been talking about Fever all series long, and he continues to deliver, but Torsas, how about his effort? And not just today, but yesterday against G2 as well. Lost in Astromic, trying to make things work, but they're just a little haphazard in front. And I think Club are overthinking this. They're overthinking their rotations.
I agree.
I think there's not so really a thing as overcoming.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta rotate, go next, hit the ball, instead of trying all of these, like, oh, feigns, oh, I'm not gonna go for it, you go for it. Like, sometimes you just gotta play like standard plat Rocket League.
And that's where I feel like there's so much hesitation slipping in. They might not have expected Power to be this demo heavy and speedy behind the ball, but I still think they have the advantage, but they don't have any. I mean, look at Lost. 0 boost in the tank. Bems is also on 0 boost. He's trying to rotate back. He gets on. No boost, no defense. 2 goals for Power.
Torsos tormenting the club right now. Great catch, great pop, and there's no chance for Lost to get back to it. Power have now outscored the club 6 goals. The last 6 goals have all belonged to Power. The club, who are known for their high-powered offense, have been completely shut down.
Torsos, the keyboard player, such an impactful performance within the past, I'd say, 4 or 5 minutes. He was the reason they were able to take the dub previously, and now he's the reason they are winning and have the lead 2-0, but there's still so much time and so much potential from the club. This doesn't look like their normal play style. They just took the corner boost. Maybe they can get set up camp in the defensive Power.
Amphis caught that ball perfectly, trapped it out. Now Torsos moving downfield. Bems trying to stop
right
him.
to Fever.
He does get 50 this time, but then there's no presence in midfield from the club. Despite they do have the resources. Astronic gets demoed again by Amphis on the backside, and Lost and Bems are playing close. Bems, he weaves around everybody and makes no contact, and didn't really force Power off the rotation. Everything that the club are trying, it's not as if they're just sitting on their wheels and not doing anything. Astronic, no touch. Lost kicks one against the wall, but it doesn't matter. Bems, how can you expect him to go for that? There were just too many obstacles in the way. Now Lost lets it go, and another fake touch, but it just doesn't work out.
I am impressed with the awareness of Power as that forward man is rotating back. He's always staying behind the ball, also taking the midfield boost, and that makes it much more difficult for the club to get comfortable on offense. This is past Lost, it's past everybody. The midfield boost is up as well. Amphis is taking the midfield boost, then he rotates forward. Power, it's so smart. It's very positionally aware, and they know when they can extend forward, take boost, and make club forced into an awkward situation.
When you talk about this region battle, that could have been it right there. That should have been the goal. But the demo actually put Fever right back, or Torsos right back in control of the ball. When you talk about this region matchup, OCE, when Kami are not on the field, are winless against South American teams. Power, they are about to put their first win without Kami for OCE against South America. Unless club can figure something out in this next minute. I don't know. Maybe they get it here from Bems, and there it is. Bems catches Fever out. The club aren't done.
We get some midfield presence. It's Astronic beating out Amphis with that challenge, and here we've got the setup. There's a midfield presence. It's Astronic getting speedy, winning a challenge. All they needed to set up a better opportunity, and if they can keep that going, it just might tie it up, but there's barely any time left.
And they didn't win the kickoff either, but Bems actually makes it work. That one is only going to be for Torsos. Everyone on the club, they're all, like you said it earlier, they're all kind of bunched up on the same side of the field. The option coverage just isn't there. And they don't have time to get it figured out. There's a great pass! Lost underneath is saved! Lost pops it up, but he can't get there. Power, dive back and keep the lead!
Was that Torsos, I believe, behind the save? Regardless of who it was, Power have been able to hold on, but how long can they last? 20 seconds remaining. And this is the club we know and love. Where has it been all series long, though?
Well, Power is certainly generating some fans as well. Non-touch, the old whifty at the end. 5 seconds left for Power.
That's it.
Fever one for the road. Do a victory lap. Power, with 3 seconds, have upset the club.
And that's the final dagger, and it's from Fever, who I think is in contention for MVP. It's him and Torsos, but then you can even bring up Amphis and talk about his impact he's had on the pitch, doing a little bit of both, being the glue of this team. And what a performance to send them 2-1. One more series from qualifying and making it to the playoff. Power, I don't even know if that's an upset at this point. We should have expected that after what they did and dismantled G2.
We have to move the goalpost on our expectations for Power. They beat G2, they beat the club, and now one game, one match,
one more series
separates them from the playoffs. The club, one match separates them from elimination, a team that wowed so many people at the World Championship and even had some sick plays in the tournament yesterday, but now they've been put in the most precarious position. And if you're Power and you're an OCE fan, you guys are eating good right now.
There's a reason why the chat was right. It was like, what, 65%?
They're like, look, we watched Power against G2. They're not
smarter than you guys, okay? We understand. We know what Torsauce is going to do. We see what Fever's brought to the Renegades previously, and now he's flowing in perfectly on Power. And I think it comes down to that midfield. Can Power hold that level of prowess and commitment in the midfield against other teams? I didn't think they could do it against Club, but now my expectations for them have been blown out the water. Maybe they can do this against the top of the top here.
You know, they say once is luck, twice is a pattern, 3 times is a trend.
He's spitting.
And
he's spitting right now.
If Power get it the 3rd time, I'm already respecting him. But nobody can count this team out. This is what an incredible run that this team is having and starting to build a good story. It's been so long since OCE have had, like there have been moments, right? Like the KC Pioneers have been that at times, but it wasn't to be. Now the other South American team are going to try to get it done, but their task is just as tough. Coming up next.